America owns the single most dominant fighter jet ever built. And America has a law on its books that makes it a crime to sell that jet to anyone. Not to its enemies, not to its rivals, and not even to its closest, most trusted friends. Japan asked to buy it. Australia asked. Israel asked. Every one of them was turned down, not by a general, not by a president, but by an act of Congress that made the sale flatly illegal. Why would the most powerful country on Earth build a war-winning machine, then forbid itself from ever selling it? And here's the part almost nobody connects. That very decision to keep this jet for America's eyes only is what quietly killed it. America built a fighter so good, it passed a law forbidding itself from ever selling it. And that single decision is exactly what doomed it. Today, only a handful are left. The factory that built them is gone, and the Air Force has started retiring the best air superiority fighter the world has ever seen. This is the story of the F-22 Raptor, too good to share, and destroyed by it. To understand the obsession with keeping it secret, you first have to understand just how terrifying this jet was. When the F-22 entered service, it wasn't a step ahead of everything in the sky. It was a generation ahead. Its stealth was so extreme that on a radar screen, this 30-ton fighter showed up as something closer to a metal marble. It could cruise faster than the speed of sound without lighting its afterburners, and it fused its sensors into a single God's eye picture of the battlefield no enemy could match. In mock dogfights, the results were almost embarrassing. Raptor pilots routinely wiped out entire formations of American and Allied fighters without taking a single simulated hit. The F-22 was so far ahead that the pilots flying against it often never even saw the jet that had just killed them. And that is exactly what frightened Washington. Because a weapon this revolutionary wasn't just an asset to be used. It was a secret to be guarded at almost any cost. In 1998, while the Raptor was still being perfected, a single congressman quietly slipped a few lines into a defense spending bill. It was called the Obey Amendment, and its language was short and brutal. No government money could be used to approve or license the sale of the F-22 to any foreign government. Full stop. That tiny clause did something no other modern American fighter has ever faced. The F-22 became the only stealth fighter America ever built that is illegal, by its own law, to sell to anyone on Earth. While the F-35 would later be exported to more than 15 countries, the Raptor was locked away for the US Air Force alone. The reasoning was paranoia, the careful kind. The F-22's stealth coatings, its engines, its sensor secrets were considered so precious that letting even a loyal ally fly, one was seen as an unacceptable risk. A crash on foreign soil, a spy in a partner's factory, a single leak, and decades of America's most guarded technology could end up in the hands of Russia or China. So the door was bolted shut. And then America's friends came knocking anyway. When word spread of just how good the Raptor was, America's closest allies didn't just admire it. They lined up to buy it. Japan wanted it most of all. Staring down a rising China and an unpredictable North Korea, Tokyo sought as many as 50 Raptors and went a remarkable step further, offering to help build a special Japanese version of the jet on its own soil. Australia wanted it. Israel wanted it. These were not shaky partners. They were among the most trusted allies America has. Japan even offered to help build the Raptor itself. And America still said no by the force of its own law. The frustration reached the very top. America's own defense secretary admitted he had no real objection in principle to selling Raptors to Australia. But, he said, until the law was changed, the United States simply could not sell it to any country. Period. So, one by one, the Allies gave up and bought the F-35 instead. It looked, at the time, like America jealously guarding its crown jewel. In reality, every one of those refusals was quietly signing the Raptor's death warrant. Here's the trap almost no one saw coming. Building a cutting-edge fighter is staggeringly expensive, and the only way to make each one affordable is to build a lot of them, spreading the enormous research cost across a huge number of jets. Foreign buyers are how you do that. But the Raptor had no foreign buyers. It was forbidden from having any. So, when the Cold War ended and the Pentagon started trimming budgets, there was no one to share the bill. With no allies to spread the cost, every Raptor America refused to sell only made the ones it kept more expensive, until it simply stopped building them. The original plan called for around 750 F-22s. That number was slashed again and again until production was capped at just 187. In 2012, the last Raptor rolled off the line, and Lockheed was ordered to dismantle and pack away the specialized tooling used to build them. The line closed. The jigs were gone. America hadn't just stopped making the best fighter in the world. It had thrown away the ability to ever make another. And right beside it, a completely different jet was proving the opposite philosophy. While the Raptor was being locked away, America built a second stealth fighter with the opposite DNA entirely, the F-35. From its very first day, the F-35 was designed to be shared. Dozens of allied nations were invited in as partners, helping fund it, helping build its parts, and lining up to buy it. That openness created the one thing the Raptor never could: scale. More than 1,000 F-35s have been built, flown by over 15 countries, with the cost spread across the entire free world, and that changed everything. The F-22 was the better dogfighter, but the F-35 won, simply because America was willing to let other people have it. The Raptor's secrecy starved it of the orders it needed to survive. The Lightning's openness flooded it with them. One jet was treated as a treasure to be hidden, the other as a tool to be spread far and wide. The hidden one withered. The shared one took over the skies of the Western world. It's the central paradox of the whole program, and it leads to one final bitter irony. Of the 187 Raptors ever built, a handful have been lost to crashes. 32 of the survivors are older training models that can't even be sent into combat. On any given day, fewer than 100 F-22s are truly ready to fight. A tiny, irreplaceable fleet guarding the most powerful nation on Earth. And now, to free up money for the next generation of jets, the Air Force has begun trying to retire the oldest of them. The greatest air superiority fighter ever built is being quietly put out to pasture. Not because anything could beat it, but because America never allowed itself to build enough of them. Sit with the irony. For 15 years, China poured everything into chasing this exact jet, a fighter so secret that America wouldn't sell it to anyone, at any price. And in the end, the thing that finally brought the Raptor down wasn't a Chinese missile or a Russian fighter. It was America's own refusal to share it. So, that's the strange truth of the F-22. It wasn't beaten in the air. It was never beaten in the air. It was beaten by a decision made on paper in 1998 that the best fighter ever built was simply too dangerous to let anyone else touch. And that decision, meant to protect America's edge, is exactly what guaranteed there would never be enough Raptors to go around. Here's the lesson hiding inside it. Sometimes, the very thing that makes a weapon the best is the thing that makes it impossible to keep. America's obsession with keeping the Raptor exclusive is what slowly strangled it, while the jet it was willing to share went on to rule the skies. And that cheaper, lesser jet, the one that won by being everything the Raptor refused to be, has a wild trillion-dollar story of its own. Next, we're telling the full story of the F-35. You won't want to miss it. Stick around.